Om Shri Sai Ram. We welcome you all for the Panduranga Ashtakam explanation. We start the evening with our daily prayers. Sai Ram.
पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
पीठे तटे भीमरथ्यां वरं पुण्डरीकाय दातुं मुनीन्द्रैः समागत्य तिष्ठन्तम् आनन्दकन्दं परब्रह्मलिङ्गं भजे पाण्डुरङ्गम्। नीलमेघावभासं रमामन्दिरं सुन्दरं चित्प्रकाशं वरं इष्टकायां समं यस्तपादं परब्रह्मलिङ्गं भजे पाण्डुरङ्गम्। प्रमाणं भवाब्धेरिदं मामकानां नितम्बः कराभ्यां धृतो येन तस्मात् विधातुर्वसत्यै धृतो नाभिकोशो परब्रह्मलिङ्गं भजे पाण्डुरङ्गम्। कौस्तुभालङ्कृतं कण्ठदेशे श्रियाजुष्टकेयूरकं श्रीनिवासं शिवं शान्तमीड्यं वरं लोकपालं परब्रह्मलिङ्गं भजे पाण्डुरङ्गम्। शरच्चन्द्र बिम्बाननं चारुहासं लसत्कुण्डलक्रान्तगण्डस्थलाङ्गं जपारागबिम्बाधरं कञ्जनेत्रं परब्रह्मलिङ्गं भजे पाण्डुरङ्गम् किरीटोज्ज्वलत्सर्वदिक्प्रान्तभागं सुरैरर्चितं दिव्यरत्नैरनर्घ्यै त्रिभङ्गाकृतिं बर्हमाल्यावतंसं परब्रह्मलिङ्गं भजे पाण्डुरङ्गम् वेणुनादं चरन्तं दुरन्तं स्वयं लीलयादोपवेशं दधानं गवां वृन्दकानन्दनं चारुहासं परब्रह्मलिङ्गं भजे पाण्डुरङ्गम् अजं रुक्मिणी प्राणसञ्जीवनन्तं परं धाम कैवल्यमेकं तुरीयं प्रसन्नं प्रसन्नार्तिहं देवदेवं परब्रह्मलिङ्गं भजे पाण्डुरङ्गम् स्तवं पाण्डुरङ्गस्य वै पुण्यदं ये पठन्त्येकचित्तेन भक्त्या च नित्यं भवाम्भोनिधिं तेऽपि तीत्वान्तकाले हरेरालयं शाश्वतं प्राप्नुवन्ति हरेरालयं शाश्वतं प्राप्नुवन्ति।
Om Shri Sai Ram. My most humble pranams to our Bhaktavatsala Sai Ranga, Bhagwan Shri Satya Sai Baba, for blessing all of us for this opportunity to attend this session. Today's session is actually on the subject of Panduranga Ashtakam, the famous composition by Sri Adi Shankaracharya, and extols the virtues of the deity of Vitthal in Pandharpur, that is in Maharashtra. We have Brother Subramanian Chidambaram over here with us to take us through the journey of explanation. He hails from a family of Samvedic scholars in the Pudukot village of Palakkad district in Kerala from India. He is an electrical engineer by qualification and a postgraduate in management from IIM Lucknow. He is an MA in Sanskrit, specialization in Vedanta and diploma in manuscriptology, both from the University of Mumbai. He has formally studied Veda chanting for 8 years and also conducts classes on Vedanta both in person and online. He is currently a visiting faculty of Puranas and Vedantas at the University of Mumbai. He was initiated into Carnatic music by his mother, Mrs. Bhagyam, a trained Carnatic singer herself and direct cousin of Vidwan Sri M.A. Kalyana Krishna Bhagavatar. I would not take much time from everybody, and I would hand it over to Brother Subramanian Chidambaram, whom we also known as Ram Kumar. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. I hope you are able to see my screen.
It's showing you have started the screen sharing, but there is nothing on the screen.
Okay. Just give me a moment. Okay, Sabisha, I'll just re-log in back.
Okay.
पुंडलीकवरदा पंढरीनाथ महाराज की
You able to see my screen now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Namaskaram to all. अज्ञानान्तर्गहनपतितान् आत्मविद्योपदेशैः त्रातुं लोकान् भवदवशिखा तापपापच्यमानान् मुक्त्वा मौनं वटविटपिनोः मूलतो निष्पतन्ति शम्भोर्मूर्तिश्चरति भुवने शङ्कराचार्यरूपा श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मत् आचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Namaskaram to all. Today we have the topic, a beautiful topic of Pandurangashtakam. If you look at the devotional literature, they can be classified under three categories. You have the Bhashya Granthas, which are commentaries on different sutras and such topics, which are for the Uttama Adhikaris, for people who are already at a very mature stage for spiritual development. Then you have the Prakarana Granthas, which are for the people who have some background and they have to know progress. So it's a simpler version for taking the people ahead. And the third are the Stotra literatures, which is for a person with no background who's just at the bottom and he is now starting to climb the spiritual ladder. And the Stotra literature is one of the major contributions for the Bhakti movement in India. And there are so many Mahatmas who have contributed to the Stotra literature, and our Pandurangashtakam is one such Stotram. So we all can be happy and relieved and relaxed that there is no special qualification that we need to start with this Stotram. Now coming to the Stotra itself. Stotra, the very term, let's begin from there. Stutyate anena iti stotraha. The word stotra comes from two parts. The first is the dhatu stu, which is stutyate, that is to praise. And the second is tra. The tra suffix is added in two ways. One is trayate, that is to protect, and one is as an instrument. So a stotra can be regarded as an instrument of praise, that is something through which you are praising the deity. And secondly, after praising the deity, by which you get protected, that is also stotram. So stotra, stutyate anena iti stotraha. Now the categories of stotras, you have various types of stotras. You have the panchakams, which are 5 verses together. you have the Shatkam, which are 6 verses together. You have the Ashtakam. Ashtakam is a very popular form where you have 8 verses put together. Our Panduranga Ashtakam is one such Ashtakam. Dashakam, where 10 verses are put together, and many more such varieties of stotras are there. Probably Acharya Shankara was among the earliest, I should say, Mahatmas, Acharyas who composed or contributed heavily to the stotra literature. You find so many stotras written by the Acharya. Probably you look at most of the major temples in India, Acharya would have written a stotram on them. So it was Acharya's way. We saw in the Bhajagovindam series that the Bhashya Granthas and the Upanishadic thoughts is what the Acharya wanted to propagate. But since all the people are not at that level, he started right from the basic, and stotras acted as a very key instrument for the Acharya to bring the people to that level. So you'll always find a mix of the devotional element as well as the philosophical element in the stotras of Acharya. So Pandurangashtakam is one such stotram written by the Acharya on the deity Vithala or Pandharinatha at Pandharapur. So the Madhaviya Digvijayam, it speaks about Acharya visiting the Maharashtra Desham during his Digvijaya Yatra, during his travels. Acharya did pass through the Maharashtra Desha, but it doesn't give any explicit mention of having been in Pandharapur, but the stotram itself is enough for us to prove that the Acharya was there here in this Kshetram and he praised the Lord residing in Pandharapur. So we will start directly with the Pandurangashtakam. Mahayogapithe tate bhimarathyam varam pundarikaya datum munindraihi samagatya tishtantamanandakandam parabrahmalingam bhaje pandurangam. What does the Acharya start by saying? He says, Mahayogapithe tate bhimaratyam. So Acharya first describes where he has reached. He's saying, I have reached a place which is a yoga pitham, which is the very hub, center of yoga, of yogic practices. It is an environment of yoga that I find in this place. And it is on the banks of the Bhimarathi, the river Bhima. The river Bhima is what flows through Pandharapur, Bhimarathi. There is a story how when the Lord came here as Panduranga, Vithala, he came to this place. The Bhima river was actually flowing a few kilometers away. So, because the Lord came here, it changed its course and took a detour in the place of Pandharapur and again went back. So, it is like a U. It took a U shape and went back. That is why it is called as Chandrabhaga, because it looks like a crescent moon, a bhagam of Chandra. So it looks like a crescent moon in that place. That is why the river Bhima is the river. It is called as Chandrabhaga. That is why you have the famous Abhang. Maze mahera pandhari ahe bhivare chatiri. It is in the Tiram of Bhivara or Bhima. Mazi bahina Chandrabhaga. He says, Mazi bahina, my sister is Chandrabhaga. Karita se papa bhanga. She removes all the sins. Such is this river because she is flowing through the feet of Pandharinatha. So Acharya says, I have come to a place which is the hub, which seems to be the hub of yoga, and which is situated on the banks of the Bhimarathi, on the banks of the river Bhima. Now here in this place, what happened? Varam Pundarikaya datum munindraihi. So to bless Pundarika, to bless a devotee, a sage called Pundarika, and to give him boons, along with the different Munindras, along with the different sages and saints, Samagatya, somebody came. To bless Pundarika, someone came. Samagatya, Tishtantam Anandakandam Parabrahmalingam. That Panduranga came. Samagatya, he came to bless Pundarika. Now, what is the story of Pundarika? Many of you might know it. Pundarika was a great Mahatma. He was actually, his only objective in life that he had taken as a vratam was to take care of his parents. That was his only vratam. He had very aged parents. So he had taken that as a vratam for himself, for his life. So he used to, from the morning till night, his only duty was to take care of his parents. So he used to do that very religiously and very regularly. Seeing the great devotion and this dridata, this dedication of this bhakta, of this great sage, the Lord himself became so happy that he said that I should give darshana to this Pundarika. He's my most favorite, hence I should give darshana to him. So the Lord comes, and he comes at the doorstep of the house of Pundarika, the ashrama of Pundarika, and he calls out for Pundarika. At that time, Pundarika is actually doing service to his parents. So Pundarika, even without looking at the door, he says, whoever it is, O great one, please wait. I am doing service to my parents, I will come after this. So please wait. And Atityam, that is one of the greatest dharma that we have in Sanatana Dharma, one of the greatest ideals. So you have to offer seat, asanam, to the Atiti. So what he does, he cannot now move from that place. So he finds a brick piece, ishtika, you call veeta in Marathi. So he finds a brick nearby. So he takes that brick and he throws it on the doorstep, and he tells the Atiti, please take asanam on this brick piece, I will come. After some time, when Pundarika comes out, what he sees in front, he sees the Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu, Narayana, himself standing on the veeta, himself standing on the ishtika. And how is the Lord standing like you see in the slide, right? Like in this photo. Because if you have to stand in the ishtika, you would have all tried, or if you have not tried, you should possibly try. How can you balance yourself on the ishtika? Very difficult. You have to stand in some posture like this to maintain your balance. So the Lord is standing there perfectly, without any chalanam, perfectly in control. He's standing there. So seeing the greatness of the Lord, he falls at the feet of the Lord and asks for repentance that he made the Lord wait. So the Lord says, there is nothing to repent. I am very happy with your vratam, and that is why I have come to bless you. So the Lord says, what do you want as a boon? So Pundarika says, only varam I want is that you must stay here like this and continue to bless devotees for ages to come. That varam Pundarikaya datum, to give Pundarika, the Lord came here, samagatya, and he stood there. Does it mean he stood there? He's only come to bless Pundarika at that point of time, and now he's not there. We just find a Shila there. Is the Lord not there? Tishtantam. Acharya uses the present participle. He didn't say that he was standing. He is standing. Tishtantam. So even today he is standing. The Lord is still standing there blessing his devotees. Tishtantam. Ananda Kandam. Kandam is an aggregation, something, an excess, a hub, a root. He is a very source, Kandam, of Anandam, of bliss, because his very nature is Satchidanandam. His very nature is that of existence, consciousness, bliss. So that he is a very source of Ananda, that Lord, that deity. But who is that Lord? Parabrahmalingam Bhaje Panduranga. The name of the Lord, deity, is mentioned, Pandurangam. Now this is a very interesting name. Those of you who know Marathi, or even there is a translation in English, there is a book called Vithala Ek Maha Samanvay, written by the great scholar Rachi Dhere. Those of you who are interested should read that book. Beautifully he explains the evolution of Panduranga, the name, Vithala, what are the different aspects of Vithala, and all these are beautifully explained in that book. So there, Panduranga, there are different etymologies for Panduranga. Panduranga is one way to describe Panduranga. That place itself was called as Pandarage. In those days, the place itself was called as Pandarage. So the Lord of Pandarage was called Panduranga. This was one way of deriving Panduranga. The other way, Pandura Ranga. Ranga means color. Pandura means white, fair. Pandura Ranga. Now you might think, isn't he Krishna? How can Krishna be fair in complexion? He is Shyama Varnam, no? He is black in color. How can he be called fair complexioned? Pandura Rangam. But this Lord is called Panduranga. So Pandura Ranga probably referred to Shiva, which also says that Vitthala has been treated by all the santas in the Varkari Sampradaya, though majority of them have worshipped him as Krishna, as Narayana. Even the Shiva Bhaktas have worshipped him as Shiva. So actually, Vitthala is a Samanvayam. He is a congregation of Shiva and Vishnu. Shiva Ani Vishnu Ekachi Pratima, says a Santa in his Abhanga. He is the combination of Shiva and Vishnu. That is why Vithoba, we say Vithoba, isn't it? Generally, the term Ba is added in Maharashtra, Pandoba, Viroba. It's all applied to various forms of Shiva, various local guardian deities who are all forms of Shiva. But that is applied to Vitthala also. Vithoba is called. So many aspects indicate the one, his form as also Shiva. So that is why the Acharya doesn't get into any controversy in the first shloka. He says, okay, Shiva Bhaktas, you call him Shiva. Vishnu Bhaktas, you call him Vishnu. For me, he is Parabrahma Lingam. For me, he is Parabrahma. For me, he is the Supreme Self. I don't care if he is Vishnu or Shiva. For me, he is Parabrahma. Lingam. Lingam doesn't necessarily mean Shiva Lingam. Lingam here means it's an indicator. He's a symbol. Linga means symbol. So he is a symbol of Parabrahmam. He is the supreme creator who has come in this form and is standing here. Parabrahma Lingam Bhaje Pandurangam. I worship that Panduranga. And the Lord, the very form of the Lord is that of a Yogeshwara, Yogi Raja. Jnaneshwara also mentions Vitthala as Yogi Raja in one of his Abhangas. So the place is Yoga Pitha and there is Yogi Raja standing there in the Ishtika, blessing his devotees. So this is the very first verse of the introduction to the Panduranga-ashtaka. Let's go ahead. Now I mentioned about the Lingam, isn't it? The Shiva Lingam. Actually, if you look at the idol of Vitthala, this idol that we are seeing here, if you look at the crown, if you look at the headgear specifically, I will just hide this just for you to have a closer view only at the headgear. Doesn't it appear like a Shiva Lingam? The Shiva Lingam and the Nagar behind it, isn't it? That is why in Manatse Shloka, Samartha Ramadas Swami says, Vithone Shri Vahila Devarana. Vitthala, Shri Vahila, on his head, he has carried Devarana. Who's Devarana? Shiva. So he says that Vithoba is carrying Lord Shiva on his head. This is exactly what he is referring to. Vithone Shri Vahila Devarana in Manatse Shloka. And that is also why Narahari Sonara, who was a Pakka Shiva Bhakta, he became the devotee, he surrendered himself to Panduranga because he saw Shiva there. Deva Tujami Sonara. He says, I am your Sonara. Tuja Namacha Vyavahara. Deva Tujami Sonara. I am your goldsmith, O Lord, he says. The second slokam. Tatitvasasam Nila Mega Vabhasam Rama Mandiram Sundaram Chit Prakasham Varam Twishtikayam Samanyastapadam Parabrahmalingam Bhaje Pandurangam. Typically in stotras, if you see, there will be one line that will be repeating. It will be like the tagline, which will repeat. So here it is Parabrahmalingam Bhaje Pandurangam. It will appear in all the verses. That means I am worshipping you, O Lord, because it is a stotra. I am praising you. I am worshipping you. I am prostrating in front of you. Now here the very form of Panduranga is explained. Tatitvasasam Nila Mega Vabhasam. How is the form of the Lord? Vasasam means Vasa is clothes. His attire. How is his attire? Tatitvasasam, like a lightning, means it is so shining. Typically Narayana you see with Pitambaram, golden Pitambara, which is shining. So the Panduranga's attire, the Pitambara that he's wearing, the attire that he's wearing is shining. But how is he? How is his color? Neela Mega Vabhasam. He's like the dark clouds. The dark clouds, he is appearing so dark and his attire is so shining. That is why that contrast is how we are able to recognize the Lord. The Alvars actually say in the Pasurams, "Oh Kanna, oh Aranganatha, you are so black. Okay, it's impossible for us without light, we can't even see you. But thanks to Lakshmi, who is residing on your chest, she is the one who's throwing light. And in that light of Lakshmi is what we are able to see your form. You are so black, O Kanna, O Ranganatha." So that black form of the Lord is what is highlighted in all stotras of Narayana or Krishna. There is a very beautiful explanation to this as well. Neela Megham. You say the Neela Megha Ganashyama, you call the Lord by different names. Neela Megha. What is the speciality of Neela Megha? They could have just called Megha, no? Clouds. No, clouds can also be white, isn't it? So what is the difference between a white cloud and a Neela Megha and a dark cloud? A dark cloud is the one that has water, that carries water. It is the cause of rains. The white cloud will never cause the rain. The black clouds, the darker the cloud, the more rain it will give. So the Lord is the giver. He is the creator. He is going to give life. It also indicates his compassion, his kripa samudram, his kripa sagaram, that mercy, that ocean of compassion is indicated by the water that is carried in the cloud. It is compared, and that is why he is called as Neela Megha. That is the reason why, because he is the giver of life. So Neela Megha Avabhasam, he looks so dark. Rama Mandiram, he is the very temple of Rama, of Lakshmi. That is what I said. The Alvar say that just because Lakshmi is residing in you, we are able to see you. Otherwise, we will not have been able to even make a account of where you are. You are so black. Rama Mandiram Sundaram Chit Prakasham. But the Lord might be black. We may not be able to see him with the physical eyes. But he is Chit Prakasha. He is that Prakasha which enlightens everything else. He is that very light of the Atman, the Brahman, which because of which we are able to see everything. He is the eye of the eye. Chakshushas Chakshuhu, says the Upanishad. He is that the Chakshu of the Chakshu, the eye of the eye. That is the Lord. Chit Prakasham, he is the light of the very consciousness. That light is enough. That is why he is dark. There is no relevance of a physical beauty. The more relevance is in the form of the Lord itself. So he is Chit Prakasham. But does that mean that he is not beautiful? Sundaram. Acharya gives adjective to the Lord, praises the Lord as Sundara. See, Sundara, very easily you translate as beautiful, right? Even here probably we have mentioned as pretty, the explanation. Sundara is a very beautiful word in Sanskrita. It comes from three parts. Su is the first part, Un, second part, Dra, third part. Su means everything that is auspicious, everything that is good is Su. Un is Unnayati, something that raises. Uddharati, something that uplifts. That is U, Un. So the one that is auspicious, Su. Unnayati, something that uplifts. Ardrayati, something that moistens us. That means something that is so compassionate, so merciful that it moistens us. It is very fragile heart. It is a soft heart. So Su Unnayati Ardrayati, the one who is so auspicious, the one that is so auspicious that uplifts our mind and also moistens us with the compassion inside, that is Sundaram. And that is what is the Lord is. So he might be looking black, but that doesn't matter. He is Chit Prakasham and he is Sundaram. That is why Tukaram Maharaj sings, Sundarate dhyana ubhe vithe vari. Sundarate dhyana ubhe vithe vari. He says dhyana ubhe. That dhyana is standing, that very meditation is standing there. It also relates to our Mahayoga Pithe. The very meditation, the very form of meditation is standing there. Sundarate dhyana. Beautiful, that form. Varam twishtikayam samanyasthapadam. Varam tu ishtikayam. Ishtika means the brick, which is also called as Vita. Because he stands on the Vita, he is called as Vithala. It's Vithala, one of the etymologies, the way it is derived is from Vita. Because he is standing on the brick, he is called as Vithala. Ishtikayam. On the Ishtika, Samanyasthapadam. He is standing, how is he standing? Samanyasthapadam. He is keeping both the feet together and standing close. Because if you don't keep the feet together and stand close, you won't be able to balance yourself on the Ishtika, on the brick, on a single brick. And this posture is what is the best posture to stand there. And only if you have focus, if you are concentrated on yourself and you are balanced, you are calm inside, can you maintain your balance on the Ishtika like this, the way the Lord is standing. So it also indicates the Sundarate Dhyana, the Mahayoga Vitha is all reflected in this form of the Lord. The way he is standing on one Vitha, Samanyasthapada, with both his feet kept close to each other. Samanyasthapadam, Parabrahmalingam, Bhaje Pandurangam. That Panduranga I am worshipping, I am prostrating in front of. Let's do one more slokam today. Pramanam bhavabdheridam mamakanam nitam bakkarabhyam drito yena tasmat vidhaturbhasatyai drito nabhikoshah parabrahmalingam bhaje pandurangam. Now, how is the Lord standing? This is what we saw the Lord standing. See, this form of the Lord is very unique, especially to a Vigraham of Narayana. Generally, the Vigraham of Narayana you find as Saturbuja Vigraham, Shankha Chakra Gada Padmam, right? Or there will be Shankha Chakra and Varada Abhaya Mudra, like you see in Tirupati. So generally it will be Chaturbuja Vigraham and it will have all these four aspects. Or even if it is two hands, it will be either Varada and Abhaya Mudra. This kind of a mudra, this kind of a posture where the Lord is keeping both his hands on the hip, that is a very rare posture. You don't find it anywhere except in the form of Vithala. So now the Acharya is giving an explanation to this. Why is the Lord standing like this? Acharya's explanation. Pramanam bhavabdheridam mamakanam nitam bakkarabhyam drito yena tasmat. This bhavabdhi, this samsara sagaram, this bhava sagaram is there. All of us are drowning in that. You know, samsara chakram, round and round, we are drowning more and more into that. But worshipping this Lord will help us come out of that, or will help us not drown into that. How? The Lord is actually telling that if you worship me, if you come in my Sharana, I will protect you. How much will I protect you? The water will still rise. Okay, it is not that the water cannot rise. The water will still rise, but the water can only rise up to the waist. It cannot go beyond the waist. Up to the waist, the water will rise, so that you will at least be able to cross the samsara walking. You know, you will be able to at least cross without drowning. So till the waist, till wherever I am keeping my hand, till that point, the water could rise. But if you are surrendered to me completely, I will ensure that the water doesn't rise above that. Pramanam bhavabdheridam mamakanam. The people have surrendered to me. Nitam bakkarabhyam drito yena tasmat. That is why he's standing like this, Acharya says. What a beautiful imagination, isn't it? Why is the Lord standing? To protect the devotees from not drowning in samsara sagar. Vidhaturvasatyai drito nabhikoshah. And the Lord is also pointing with his hands. He's also pointing to the Nabhi. What is the Nabhi? The beauty of the Nabhi of Narayana. From the Nabhi, the Kamalam, the lotus is arising. And in that lotus, Vidhatu, Vidhata. Who is Vidhata? Brahma is born in that lotus. So this is the form of Padmanabha. From his Nabhi, the Padmam comes, and in the Padmam there is Brahma. So Lord's Nabhi is the very source of the Creator himself. So that means he is very source of creation himself. He is the very source of creation, and he is protecting you also from not drowning into samsara. So Vidhatur Vasatyai Drito Yena Drito Nabhi Koshaha. So the Nabhi Kosha, in that Padmam, Brahma is residing. Parabrahmalingam Bhaje Pandurangam. Such a Panduranga I worship. Another beautiful thing is, it is probably there in this form of the Lord. In these two hands, if you see very closely, this hand is actually holding the Shankham. It is actually holding the Shankha, and in this hand you will actually see a chakram being engraved. So the symbols on the idol very clearly reflect Narayana, because Narayana is one of the Vigraha Lakshanams is Shankha Chakram. Shankha Chakram has to be there on the Vigrahams of Narayana. So this actually indicates the Shankha and the Chakram. The Chakram indicates the destruction, right? And the Shankha indicates the sustenance, the preservation. So the Shankha and the Chakram are there in the hands of the Lord. That is also the beauty of the Vigraham of Panduranga, indicating that definitely the main aspect, main Amsha of the Vigraham is Narayana Vigraham, but he is also having Shiva, and in the Nabhi Kosha is also having Brahma. So he is the Trimurtis put together, Brahma, Narayana and Maheshwara. All of them are there together in this form of the Lord. So probably we'll stop for today, and we will take any questions that you might have, and then we'll continue with the other shlokas tomorrow. So Sabish, do you have any questions coming up or anything?
Sai Ram. Yes, we have one question which has come offline to us. That is, why is the color of Panduranga black?
Yeah. So as I was mentioning, Panduranga is considered a form of Narayana himself, a form of Krishna himself. And Krishna or Narayana is typically black in color. And why they are black in color? That is what I mentioned. The very essence, the inner meaning of black is Kripa Samudram, Kripa Sagaram, because the black clouds are carrying water. Their water carrying clouds are only black. Once everything is done, once all the water and everything is given, then it becomes white. So actually there's a beautiful thing when you distinguish between Shiva and Vishnu. Shiva is considered white in color. Shiva, the form of Shiva is white. Panduranga we saw. He is generally considered to be white in color, and Vishnu is considered to be black in color. Any material, okay, any material on the universe, if you burn, the first form, after a lot of burning, it will become black, right? Because of the carbon content, it will become black in color. So everything will first turn into black. That is a form of Vishnu. Even if you further keep on burning it, it will become ash. That is, it will become white. That is Parameshwara, Shiva. So Shiva is after all the forms, after all the actions are performed, when that liberation is there, that is the form of Shiva, which is white in color. And even while in the world, the preservation aspect of Vishnu is indicated by the black color, by the Nila Megha Vabhasam. This is the common simile or comparison that is given. So that is the reason why Narayana is picturized generally as black in color, always. It also indicates his compassion or mercy towards his devotees.
Thank you. We move on to our next question. Acharya ji explained very beautifully about Narayana. Then, why did other acharyas like Madhvacharya and Ramanujacharya have rejected Adi Shankaracharya's philosophy?
No, there are two different things. This is a topic that requires a lot of detailed explanation, so I may not be able to give in a few minutes. What we need to understand is, let me speak of the Acharya first. The Acharya first spoke about Advaita Vedanta. What does Advaita Vedanta mean? There is only one Brahman. That Supreme Brahman is only reality. Everything else is only an appearance on that Brahman. Right? Everything is also only an appearance. Now, this is the ultimate truth. But what is the fact? What is the reality in our lives? Are we able to realize this truth and live as per this truth? We are not. So we haven't reached that ultimate state yet. 99% of us are still in the lower rungs, where we still see the world and we still live in the world and we treat it as real as anything else. So the Acharya then started, coming down to the people, the level of the people, and started to uplift them through these different literatures, through these stotras and other things, mantras and other rituals, how you upgrade yourself to that level. So Acharya then built it. But his primary message was that you have to always aim for the highest, which is that Brahman. The later acharyas, what happened is everybody is right in their own respect because they all are responding to the society in which they live. So during Acharya's time, it was very important for the Vedodharanam and the message of the Upanishads to be rejuvenated. But by the time of Ramanujacharya, probably, and later Madhvacharya, it was important to instill in people basic devotion and rituals, because people had probably given up those things also by that time. Even if you look at time periods, they all come many hundred years after Shankaracharya, both Ramanujacharya and Madhvacharya. So by the time, the society probably has degraded into a level where even karma is not happening. So as we saw in the Bhajagovindam series, if the karma is not put in place, then how do you even aim for jnana, for the higher path? Not possible. So their objective became to re-establish karma. So their philosophy became that let's not bother about Brahman and all. Let's not bother about Maya and Avidya and non-reality and all. You have to only treat the Lord as the supreme. Everything is real. Please go ahead and you have to visit the temple every day. You have to do your pujas every day. The Lord is real, and surrender to Him is the only way. That is the only way that can take you across Bhavasagara. That was the philosophy that was needed to pull the people out. So the way I would explain is, you start with Dvaita. You start with the Madhvacharya. You slowly move into Ramanujacharya, and then you slowly move into Shankaracharya. That is how so every sadhaka has to go through all. It is not that I am this follower or that follower. That is the wrong way of approaching the Vedantam itself. It is all, there are different steps in the ladder towards reaching the ultimate.
Okay. We move on to our next question. That is, to which yuga did Bhakta Pundalika belong to?
That is very difficult to say, because this comes in the Panduranga Mahatmyam of the Puranas. See, in the Puranas, one problem is you cannot determine which time period and chronology, and all these things are very difficult. But very surely we can say that Pundarika belonged to the beginning of the Kali Yuga. Or there are certain Puranas that also say that he belonged to some of the previous yugas, and Panduranga has been staying for all the yugas. So there are different versions of this. So we can safely assume that, see, whatever be the case, we are going to, one yuga itself is so many years. Our life is so limited. So we can rest assured, we say that Panduranga has been there for eternity, and Pundarika, thousands and thousands of years before, is what Pundarika was there, and he continues to still remain there. Today also, if you go to the Bhimarati, the Chandrabhaga, on the banks of Chandrabhaga, you have a temple for Pundarika. You will have a lingam there in the temple, and that lingam is given the facelift of a Pundarika, the mask of Pundarika. After all the Deeparadhana and is all done, he is put in the mask of Pundarika. So he is still worshipped there in the banks of Chandrabhaga. There is a temple there.
Okay. The next question is, in the Gatha Mandir at Dehu, it is depicted that Tukaram's previous incarnations were Prahalad, Angad, Uddhav, and Namdev. Is it established?
See, these things can only be established by the saints themselves. If they have said in their Abhangas, we can probably quote that. Other than that, it's very difficult to make any statements. So I haven't read through all the Abhangas of Tukaram Maharaj. So if in the Abhangas it is mentioned, then definitely we have to take it as it is. If Tukaram Maharaj himself has spoken about him being these in all the avatars, or any of the other santas have spoken about Tukaram Maharaj being so, or any of the Shishyas of Tukaram Maharaj have said so, then we'll have to take it as the authority. And in many cases, it is the case that many of these santas, they come as reincarnations. They come as different avatars in different points of time. So this is a fact. Otherwise, how do you explain, these this devotion to the Lord right from the birth and reaching such high levels? Very difficult.
Though the next question you have already explained, but some of us has missed it out. So request you to please repeat it. Okay, the meaning of Ba in Vithoba, and why are all Indian gods black in color?
All Indian gods are not black in color. Okay, let me first answer the first one. Baba, that's what you call typically in Marathi, you would refer to your father as Baba, Ai Ani Baba. So when you call somebody as Vithoba, Viroba, Khandoba, it is a male deity. It's a male. It's a respected form of addressing the male. So generally, the Ba is added. If you look at the different deities in Maharashtra, all the guardian deities, the local deities, the prominent deities, they're all wherever the suffix Ba is attached are all Shiva, forms of Shiva, like Viroba, Khandoba. These are all the popular deities in Maharashtra. Similarly, you say Vitobha. So there is one thought among the scholars that there is an amsha of Parameshwara also in Vithala. That is why he's called as Vithoba. Otherwise, there was no need for calling him Vitobha. So that is the suffix of Ba. Now coming to the color, no, all deities are not black in color. If you look at actually the different forms of deities and their different lakshanas, you will find that all deities are not black in color. Very specific colors are given to the deities to represent different things. For example, general form is Parameshwara is white in color. And the different dhyana shlokas we must read of the deities, which explains the color of the deity, the form of the deity, everything. We say Shuddha Spatika Sankasham Trinetram Panchavaktakam. This is the shlokam we say for Parameshwara. Shuddha Spatika Sankasham. How is he form? How is his form? Shuddha Spatikam. Like a clear crystal. That means so white, fair. That is the form of Parameshwara. Whereas if you look at Narayana, all his dhyana shlokas, we will speak about him being Shyamavaranam, isn't it? Neela Megha Shyamavaranam. So he is black in color. That is the color given to Narayana and all the avatars of Narayana. If you look at Murugan, he is called as Shayyon. Shayyon indicates red color. He is red in color. Okay, red rose. That is the color given to Murugan, Shayyon. So like this, you have different colors that are given to different deities representing different aspects. These all, it's a science in itself, Shastra in itself. These are all represented also through the dhyana shlokams of these respective deities.
Sai Ram. This question has come. I understand that detachment is not so easy. So is there any specific sadhana to practice detachment?
It's a simple question, but not at all an easy answer to give. That will be very difficult to answer in a general way. How is detachment to practice? But generally, the Upanishads, at least the way they give is actually the reverse. They say there is no need to practice detachment. If suppose you are doing something, okay, you see something more beautiful, you see something more advantageous, you see something more beneficial, wouldn't you automatically leave this and go to the other one? Isn't it? So when something is more beautiful, more beneficial, more advantageous, more useful, when you're convinced, then automatically this goes off and you go towards the other. Similarly, detachment is not necessary to be practiced. You will automatically get detached if your focus is on that supreme. The moment you know that the supreme is there and you know the nature of that supreme and you're getting a glimpse of that supreme, automatically the other things become detached. You automatically become detached from the other things. Enforcing detachment might be difficult, but this again, it cannot be generalized. As a sadhana, it could still be there because that is what the Lord says in the Gita about the sadhana. So those are different aspects, very individual to the sadhaka.
Sai Ram, we will take the rest of the questions for tomorrow, okay, because of the time constraint. But there is a request come from a couple of devotees, like if you can sing 2 lines of any of the abhangs with Panduranga.
Okay. I'll do it tomorrow.
No problem.
Okay.
No problem.
Thank
so
you.
I request for the closing prayers for the day, but at the same time, yeah, we will be having Sai Gayatri Mantra Jap for 15 minutes after we close at 9 o'clock to 9:15. That is for the world health and world peace. Kindly do join us for that if you are free after the session closes. It will be online going on. Sai Ram.
ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात् ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्।
ॐ तत्सत् श्रीनारायण तु पुरुषोत्तम गुरुतु सिद्धबुद्धतु स्कन्दविनायक सविता पावकतु सविता पावकतु ब्रह्ममस्ततु यशक्तितु येषु पिता प्रभुतु रुद्रविष्णुतु रामकृष्णतु रहीमतावतु रहीमतावतु वासुदेवतो विश्वरूपतो चिदानन्द हरितु अद्वितीयतु अकालनिर्भय आत्मलिङ्ग शिवतु आत्मलिङ्ग शिवतु आत्मलिङ्ग शिवतु।
समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय।
Om Shri Sai Ram. We are having like Gayatri chant, Sai Gayatri chanting, that is from 9 o'clock to 9:15. We request everybody to please join us from 9 to 9:15 for the same. Sai Ram.
पुंडलीक वरदा पंढरीनाथ महाराज की रूप पाहता लोचनी सुख झाले हो साजणी रूप पाहता लोचनी सुख झाले हो साजणी तो हा विठ्ठल बरवा तो हा माधव बरवा तो हा विठ्ठल बरवा तो हा माधव बरवा बहुत सुकृताची जोडी म्हणून विठ्ठले आवडी बहुत सुकृताची जोडी म्हणून विठ्ठले आवडी सर्व सुखाचे आगरू बाप रखुमा देवी वरू सर्व सुखाचे आगरू बाप रखमा देवी वरू विठ्ठल 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 विठ्ठल
विठ्ठल जय हरी विठ्ठल 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 जय हरी विठ्ठल
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल जय हरी विठ्ठल
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल जय हरी विठ्ठल
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल जय हरी विठ्ठल
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल जय हरी विठ्ठल
छुन्नुक 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 टाळ वाजवी पाटामधल पाणी छुन्नुक छुन्नुक टाळ वाजवी पाटामधल पाणी रान पाखरा संग गातो तुझी विठ्ठला गाणी रान पाखरा संग गातो तुझी विठ्ठला गाणी
जय जय विठ्ठल जय हरी विठ्ठल जय जय विठ्ठल जय हरी विठ्ठल
मोठ्यांच्या कनसात डोलते तुझे देखणे रूप विठ्ठला तुझे देखणे रूप निळ
ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्न